All right, let's not bury the lead here. Drake Maye, quarterback, the number 3 overall pick, looked great again today. Noteworthy that he did once again take reps right behind Jacoby Brissett, ahead of Bailey Zappi once again. So I don't want to call it fast tracks. I don't think they're doing this too fast, but he is certainly essentially confirmed as the number 2 quarterback here. Not that he ever wouldn't be, and not that, Bailey was going to be the backup for long, but, they made May earn his stripes a little bit early on in OTAs, and he was going behind Zappi or whatever. But look, it's time. He is clearly the number 2 quarterback right now, and he had a pretty good day. I'll let you get into the nitty gritty of it, but, overall, thought he looked really good today. He looks like he, is really taking some command of the offense when he's out there, quick decision making. And then the arm is just always on full display. Like he just, whether he hits guys in stride, whether he, throws away from a defender, whatever, like he knows where he wants to put the ball. And more often than not, he's able to put it there. So another solid showing from May, but what did you think overall from what we saw from him? And if you can sort of dive into it a little bit more of what you observed today.
Yeah, so I don't really want to say he bounced back from last week because we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We only get access to certain practices. But based on what we saw, where last week, sometimes his inexperience did show, where he had the interception to Juju, where the accuracy was off. There was the miscommunication between him and Antonio Gibson where it was intercepted. And then there were points where it seemed like he may have gotten in his head a little bit, seemed a little more hesitant. His play just kind of dropped off. Today was totally different. The only incompletion he had during the early team drills was on an incompletion. That was one of the best throws we've seen in camp, where there were so many times he would throw passes and you're looking at where it's going and you're like, this guy's blanketed. This better be a perfect pass. And lo and behold, it is. Like, my favorite was the one to LaMichael Petway, where he has a receiver or defender right on his hip. Drake Maye puts it where only his guy can get it. And you saw that consistently, where the accuracy and the ball placement keeps coming out. Also, the aggressiveness. That's what you really love from these young quarterbacks. Is I felt like last week we saw once he made the mistakes, he might have pulled back a little bit. But today, like the first one he had to Petway, where he actually wrestled it away from a defender, he puts it up there and gives his guy a chance. And again, this is LaMichael Petway. Like, this isn't Hunter Henry, a guy where he's going to win. Drake's saying, and it's a continuation of what we saw in college, where he doesn't really care who he's throwing to. He's going to give you a chance to make plays. I thought we saw that pretty consistently throughout the day. I'm just trying to look through my notes to make sure I don't leave anything out. Also, like the mobility and the arm slots. You saw a few times, like when the windows are a little tighter because there's a defender there, or if the pocket's not great, you'll see him kind of put that arm sideways and let it rip. And it's also accurate. Like sometimes we've seen Bailey Zappi adopt kind of a sidearm throw and the results are a little up and down, but with Drake, it shows up and it looks good. There was another one he had to Jalen Polk where Drake has some of the coolest throws that don't go beyond 5 yards that you'll see, where there's one, the pocket's kind of collapsing around him. He steps up, keeps his cool, and then he's on the run, gets a sidearm throw to Jalen Polk. And again, it was just a throw to the flat. It wasn't anything crazy, but the composure and the decisiveness really stood out. When pressure came in around him, you saw it. He's going through his reads quickly, hitting his checkdowns without really hesitating. It's always hard to judge if they're making the right decisions, because sometimes you can look at the film like you do in a game and say, he may have gone through the reads too quickly. Even in college, it's not like he wouldn't check the ball down. Sometimes he checked the ball down too quickly and was a little too eager to do that. So it's hard to know exactly what was going on, but from what we could see, I thought it was his best practice kind of by far. I don't think we saw him being this consistent. The entire offense kind of went off the rails a bit once we saw the end of half situations. A lot of that was just because you didn't see a ton of separation. Sometimes the defensive line was impacting that. So it was, other than the Bailey Zappi pick six, there weren't a ton of plays where you're like, the quarterback really messed up. Drake had a really good practice. I also want to give Jacoby Brissett his flowers. He's still doing a really good job keeping the offense on schedule. Had one throw to Pop Douglas in the back of the end zone where Pop screamed and then spiked the ball. That was a really good throw. So it continues to be a productive quarterback competition between Drake Maye and Jacoby Brissett. But with the strides you're seeing, where Jacoby even said, you're seeing this kid basically grow on the field every day. And it's the kind of thing where he's going to be putting in work once there's a break. It kind of seems like it's summer vacation. It's not. Especially quarterbacks, guys are going to their trainers. They have regimens. They're finding ways that they can just continue to build before training camp. I'm excited to see what kind of growth we end up seeing from Drake Maye after that period and how much he can really start competing more for that QB1 job, because I don't think it's a legit competition right now, but you can absolutely see with the talent that Drake shows, if the mental side of the game is consistent once the pads come on, at some point, the way I see it is that if he's beating the top defense, they're going to be like, yo, we need to put this guy in. We all love Jacoby, but if we can't really beat this guy, and if we're having trouble with him, he should be the starter. I don't care if, maybe the offensive line has to figure things out. Maybe the receiving core isn't where you want it to be. Not everyone gets a perfect situation, but I think this is a solid enough team where he can elevate guys and really turn this into a more competitive group than maybe what it would be with Jacoby Brissett if he starts and plays well.
Testing my skills on Prize Picks this season is the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $1,000 with just a few taps. Use the code CLNS for the first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
Yeah, you said that to me today when we were standing there watching practice. We were like, "Hey, wait, if he keeps this up, like Drake could start." And I kind of gave you the look, like, "What the hell are you talking about here? Like, let's pump the brakes here a little bit." But I'm sure
it is early.
So it's early, but I was sitting there kind of thinking about it in real time, and I was like, "Well, they wanted to be ready, and they should take it slow and this and that." And then I kind of talked to myself like, "But he looks good now. It's only June. If he goes through the summer, like you said, he comes out in training camp and lights it up. That means he's ready." It's almost like a what are we waiting for situation. If he can play well, he looks good, is elevating the receivers around him that aren't the A-list receiver groups like teams like Cincy and whatnot have, just let him go out there. And yeah, the offensive line, we're going to talk about the offensive line in a minute, but the offensive line is sort of disarray is a strong word, but kind of mismatched in different guys playing in different places right now trying to figure it out. But if he can get over all of that stuff, then there's no reason to not play him. Get him more reps early on. See what he can see if he can learn on the fly and make better decisions when he sees more live defenses other than just some the ones that are here. But I mean, you're right. If he's beating the Patriots defense, which is at least top half of the league, if not top 10, closer to top 5, he can play in this league. So again, we'll see what happens. He looked really good today. There was a funny moment. I know you kind of tweeted out and captured a little bit where he made that sidearm play to Jalen Polk you're talking about. And then you and Brian Hines looked over and you see Jabril Peppers mimic him. He jumped up and threw in the air, kind of looking like Patrick Mahomes, whatever. So they're loving it. The teammates like him. So again, if he's out there making plays against this defense and everyone's like, yo, why isn't this guy playing? You might as well put him in. Jacoby Brissett knows his place. He knows what he's here for. So he's on a 1-year deal. He could be the backup if he has to. It's no problem with him. So we'll see where this thing goes. Again, it's super early, but you're right. Today was for sure the best practice we've seen Drake Maye have.
Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets at Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use the code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code CLNS and get $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed.